Treaty, a formal agreement between people or groups or countries.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope that you've had a good couple of weeks since I've seen you last. I tell you, it feels like this rain is never gonna let up. Hopefully we'll get some sunshine here soon. I know that it's supposed to be pretty dry Tuesday through Thursday, so hopefully we'll get some nice sunny days mixed in there. And I heard maybe we'll be getting some snow on Thursday, so let's keep our fingers crossed for that. That'd be kind of nice. So we've been talking about the Israelites going into the promised land. And last time I saw you guys, we had talked about the wall of Jericho, and they broke that down using God's pretty unusual instructions. And they were able to go into Jericho then with those walls broken down. And today our story is again going to be about the Israelites. And now that they're in the promised land and sort of the struggles that they're dealing with. And it's called Trick or Treaty. So our Bible verse for today is Isaiah 48:17, and it says, "I am the Lord your God who teaches you what is best for you and who directs you into the way that you should go." So after Joshua and the Israelites moved into the land that God had promised to give them, the people around grew more and more nervous about the Israelites living in their land, because where they had gone, the promised land, it wasn't completely empty when they got there. There were people already living there. Most of the kings decided that it was the best thing to do was fight the Israelites, even though they had already seen Israel defeat the people of Jericho and Ai. But the Gibeonites had a different idea to protect themselves. They were going to trick the Israelites. It wasn't long before a scraggly group of people came to Joshua and the leader of Israel's. Their sandals and clothes looked as if they had been worn to pieces. So they were just coming apart, super old, probably pretty sweaty, and just looking like raggedy. And probably their clothes were too. Their food seemed really old. Maybe it had a little bit of moldy on it. If they had bread, their bread was probably pretty stale. What do you think that the Gibeonites were pretending to be? The Gibeonites told Joshua that they were travelers from a faraway land. They insisted that the bread they were carrying had been warm when they left home, but they were lying. So they were pretending like their food was stale and that their clothes were raggedy and all these things, but that wasn't true. So I have a picture here I want to show you guys, and this is what they look like. So here's their bread. See, it's all moldy and gross. And then here's probably Joshua in his nice clothes, and he's meeting them. And see, their clothes are all raggedy and dirty. Even his face has a little bit of dirt on it. And then the people back here as well are looking all dirty. And they're just looking like they are just some sort of lowly travelers who probably don't have much money. And they're looking for probably something. Joshua and the other leaders checked out their story. Yes, the bread was old, the sandals were worn, but there was one really important thing that the Israelites forgot to do. What do you think that really important thing was? They didn't ask God for guidance. They didn't ask God for the wisdom to be able to figure out if they were telling the truth or not. So based on what they saw and what they touched and what they tasted, the Israelites made a treaty, which is sort of like a promise or a trade, with the Gibeonites. They gave their promise that they would not attack these people because they thought, oh, these people have nothing. We wouldn't want to attack them. We don't want to hurt them. 3 days later, Joshua got some very interesting news. It turned out that the Gibeonites were actually their neighbors. So remember, they had told Joshua they were from a faraway land and they were traveling from a long way away. Not true. They were neighbors. They were pretty much right over next door. And now the Israelites' leader had promised to protect them. So great, now we have these neighbors that we have to protect, and we can't go on their land or do anything like that. Of course, the Israelites wanted to go and attack the Gibeonites, but Joshua and the leaders had already made a promise, and they weren't going to break their promise. Soon after that, 5 kings of the land got together. The kings decided that they would track the Gibeonites because they had made a treaty with Israel, the very nation that they were most afraid of. So the kings joined together and they moved toward Gibeon. And of course, who did the Gibeonites ask for help? They sent word to Joshua that they needed Israel's army to protect them right away. So the Gibeonites tricked them, and then they said, hey, Israelites, we know we tricked you, but we need you to come protect us right away from all these enemies. So Joshua and his entire army moved out. As they went, God told Joshua, don't be afraid of them. I have given these armies into your hand. Not one of them will be able to stand against you. And that must have made Joshua feel way better, especially since he was risking his life and his best fighting man's to save the Gibeonites, something that it wasn't even to save his own people. God did just what he said he would do. He helped Joshua protect the Gibeonites. Joshua and his army marched all night long. As dawn broke, the Israelites showed up and surprised the other armies. But even better than the surprise attack, God made the 5 armies so confused that the enemy soldiers just started running everywhere. So they were like a bunch of chickens just running around everywhere. They didn't know what was going on. They were so confused. The army of Israel ran after the 5 armies, because there were 5 kings, so 5 different armies that they had, chasing them back to the road. And while the Israelites did that, God added some extra help. He sent a hailstorm, so big old hail falling from the sky now, a storm that sent huge hailstones from the sky. That stopped the 5 armies faster than anything else, because they were just hitting them on the head. So you just probably heard they have all their arm bombs, so it's probably just like bonk, 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 bonk all over them. And so they're like, okay, we got to get out of here. The army of Israel ran after the 5 armies, chasing them back down the road. And while the Israelites did that, God added some extra help. God sent, we just talked about that part. Then God did one more amazing thing to help his people. Joshua asked for the sun and the moon to stand still so that the Israelites could finish the battle in a day. And God heard him. Nothing like that had ever happened before, and nothing like it has ever happened since. God fought the battle for the Israelites in amazing ways. When the Gibeonites showed up with their sneaky story, Joshua had to decide whether or not to believe them, but he forgot to ask God for help in making that decision, and because of that, he made the wrong decision. But if he would have asked God for help, God would have given him the right answers. God has shown all through these stories that we've been talking about of them, God leading them to the promised land. God has protected the Israelites and he's provided for them. So if Joshua would have just asked for help, God would have been there to help him. But when Joshua was asked to protect the Gibeonites, God helped him and did amazing things for him. Have you ever had a hard time deciding what to order from a menu? Just little things like that. Every day we have decisions to make, and some of them are a lot harder than just choosing something to eat. When we are not sure what to do, God wants us to ask him for help. We don't always know what the best decisions are to make, but God knows exactly what we should do. No matter what you need to choose, you can ask God to show you what is best, and he will always show you the right answer. And I want to read our memory verse just one more time, and it's again Isaiah 48:17. I am the Lord your God who teaches you what is best for you, who directs you in the way that you should go. So again, the Lord is the one who will teach us where the best way to go is and what the best decision is to make. So if we turn to him, he'll be able to give us the right answers and everything. And it might not always be really obvious, but if you take time to really pray on something, not making a split decision is important. So taking time to pray and talk to God about it, God will reveal that answer. It might not be as soon as you want it, and it might not be the answer that you want. Maybe you felt that this was the right decision, but now after praying and spending time with God and reading the Bible, you think, okay, maybe the other decision is the right decision. But whether it is the right decision or not that we have in our head, God will always provide us with the right answer. So I hope you guys have a great couple of weeks. Hopefully we get some snow this week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.